Hey everybody, good morning.
Good
Good
morning.
morning, Renee. Welcome to Advanced Accounting. We're so happy to have you today.
Glad to be here.
I am really excited, everybody, because Renee is here with me, and this is our second phase in how to get ready for tax season 2019. Are you ready? That's my question for everybody out there. Are you actually ready for tax season 2019? Because I want you to let me know if you're here. I want you to let me know where you're from. That's really exciting to me. I love to know where everybody's from. Okay, because I'm from here in Gulfport. Where are you from, Renee? You're not from where I'm from.
I'm not Natchez, Mississippi.
Oh, okay. So I'm really excited because today is the perfect example of why I offer virtual services, because I can bring you experts from all over the country who are the very best in their field. Um, if you have anybody that's a small business owner that is friends with you, you need to share this video with them before we get started this morning, because today is going to be a money saving live, and it's going to save you money. It's going to save you stress. And I want to tell you guys just a little tiny bit about our guests before we get started, because I want you to know that I bring you the very best experts from everywhere. So Renee is actually an expert in human resource, and her website is We Are HR. I love that name. I just say it all the time. I just think it's so neat. Uh, and you just have the most amazing passion for helping small business owners. So tell me, Renee, what you do that really helps small business owners like me.
Well, my vision, my mission right now is to go into a organization and help take the stress off of small business owners by letting them focus on their operations while I focus on their people stuff, which is new hire paperwork, interviewing, recruiting, making sure paperwork's in compliance by law, making sure that everything's being followed by law, because there's so many fines that can be done. There's even jail time that could happen. So that's basically as a quick summary.
I
A
don't
lot
like
more than that.
jail time. I don't like jail time, and I don't like fines, y'all. That's not good. You didn't say jail time yesterday when we talked. That's a whole different episode, Renee.
Yes, that's on the I-9 form. If you don't pay what they tell you to pay for that, if there is a mistake.
Okay, I'm really glad you mentioned that, because that's actually why I brought her in today. This live can save you thousands of dollars and apparently jail time.
Yeah.
You don't want that. So, and I want you guys to know as we get started, the reason I did this is because a lot of this stuff that didn't affect business owners before, with the introduction of so much internet now, state and federal government, they're really coming together and they're very aware. So I want you guys to know, even if you're people out there, and I know we're all out there, we've taken shortcuts, and we haven't done things exactly right. It's just not going to work anymore. They're looking, they want to make sure everybody's compliant. And that's what this live is about. I wanted to throw a little disclaimer out before we started, because this is all about reviewing your 1099 and your employee paperwork. So that's subcontractors and employees. The information we're about to give you, truthfully, you should do this at the time of hire. So I'm not telling you every year to wait till the end of the year to review all your files. When you review them this year, now do them all before you hire people. So I want to be very clear about that before we get started. Do what we're going to recommend from now on before you hire people, or at the time of hire, in the future. Okay. So, all right. Now, tax season 2019 documents. All right. Let's start with new hire documents, Renee, because that's really the most important one right now to me. So when we hire people, tell me how we need to be compliant. What do we need to look at before the first of the year?
Well, first off, the major thing that they look at, Joint Commission with hospitals, or because that's part of an audit too, they look at your I-9 forms. That's the most important form. It's the government official documentation. There cannot be one bit of a mistake, not even scratch out. If there's a mistake, you have to keep refilling it out until it's perfect. Nobody else, unless they're a translator, can fill that out for anybody. But that's the only piece of documentation cannot have mistake at all. Employment filing cabinets need to be locked up with their personal information in it. Any health care. If they were sick, couldn't come to work, have a health condition that they need to let the employer know, that needs to be in a separate file. It cannot be in that employee file for HIPAA laws.
Okay, I did not know
the major things that they look at. There's just a few of the massive that can cause you a fine. An I-9 form, if there's a mistake, can cost you up to from $2,000 to $10,000 a form.
Tell me what an I-9 is. I don't think most of us really know what an I-9 is.
I-9 form is part of the very first documentation that you fill out with your new hires. It helps to know that your new hires are legal, that they are able to work in the United States, that they don't have anything on them that would prevent them from working in the United States. It also helps you to know they have up-to-date documentation. And another thing too, when you're doing I-9 forms, you always want to ask them to bring in 2 forms of ID, but you can never tell them which ones they need to bring in because that's very illegal to do. You have line A, B, and C. They can choose either one from A or B, and they have to bring one from C. But you can't tell them exactly which one. So for instance, when I was doing as an HR assistant, when I contacted the employees for their orientations, I would call them and say, okay, so I need you to bring either a passport, or you can bring, because you have to kind of be somewhat specific, or you can bring a state license or a state ID with your picture on it, and I need you to also bring a social security card or a birth certificate. But you couldn't say, and bring your you couldn't say like, bring your social security card and your driver's license, because not everybody has a driver's license. So that's why we have to kind of give them, it could be illegal if it gets back, because if they go to EEOC or ADA or something like that. So she told me what I had to bring, that could become a lawsuit.
Oh, that's good to know. I didn't know that. And I think one of the other mistakes that I've made is I didn't have 2 forms of ID. You know, we take the driver's license or an ID and we think, oh, that's good, because in the past it has been. But now it's 2 forms of ID. So one is no longer an option, right? We must have
Must have 2. And the company to have a copy, and they need to send the government a copy.
Gotcha. Okay, that is good to know. Really, really glad. What else would be like, for instance, we know, let's say we have maybe 2 or 3 employees, like I have 2 or 3 employees. What are some other things if we're not in medical? Is there anything besides any other documents besides the I-9 that they'll be looking for us to have them fill out?
Oh yeah, they're going to look at the federal tax that you have to fill out. They're going to be looking for state tax form. That's basically what they look for. They want to make sure that write-ups, if you're having to do, I call them write-ups, they can also be called personal actions, progressive actions, which means if an employee is not following your policies and procedures, you need to be documenting that, because you can't just let them go without being properly documented.
Okay.
Because that can cause a lawsuit with the EEOC and ADA, which is Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. And so you need to definitely have that paperwork done. So when they look in there as well, they're going to look at documentations. Why was this person let go? Why did this person quit? They really dig into your files.
Well, I tell you what, everybody, it's a lot of paperwork. And I always say this, a lot of times when we get into our own business, we don't realize the level of administrative paperwork that goes along with owning your own business. And this is one of them. I tell you, this doesn't even go into accounting yet. I mean, we're just in HR. We haven't even gotten to our finances, and you're already doing mass paperwork. That's why it's the end of the year. So go through them and make sure you're legal. Listen, if you find that you have too many files or you need someone to review them, of course, call Renee, get a hold of her, let her help you. Get this right before 2019. Don't go into next year with being non-compliant. It's not a good place to start your year. We want to start next year profitable. So now, when you mentioned about the payroll, that takes me into the 1099s and the W-2s.
Right.
So one of the things I like to do is I go through their the 1099s. And so a lot of us don't have employees. What we have is subcontractors or casual labor. And a lot of times this is a common place where businesses don't get the right paperwork. When you go to hire somebody to do labor in your facility, maybe it's people to clean, okay? You've got to get I don't know why my words are just slipping right out of my head today. You've got to get a W-9, all right? And a W-9 is where they either put their tax ID or they put their social security number, depending on what they have as their business. The people that have to do this are small businesses like us or other individuals. So you don't have to worry about other corporations. That was one thing when I first started doing this. I would be calling these big companies and they're going, we don't have to give you a tax ID now. So don't waste your time calling, Cintas if you get laundry done. They don't have to give you a tax ID, okay? But for instance, if you hired one of us, you need to get a W-9 from us before we start our contract with you. And it should have, this applies to anyone that you pay $600 or more throughout the year. So a lot of times we think, oh, I didn't pay them $600 at one time. If you cumulatively paid them more than $600 during the course of 2018, you will be required to 1099 them at the beginning of the year. And of course, this is a brief overview, everybody. There's a lot more details that can go into this, but you need to make sure that you have this information because as a business owner, these are your responsibilities. There is nobody to blame. When it's over with, there's nobody else to blame. They will only look at the business owner. So even if you hire us, you should still make sure we're doing it. You should still know, right, Renee? You don't want to ever be complacent. I like to go ahead and I have a template letter and we're going to put that for you guys. I'm going to explain how you get all this stuff at the end, but I do a little template letter and I get it ready right about the first quarter of the year and I send it out and it just requests the tax ID and for them to complete their W-9 that I put with the letter. And then I like to put a self-addressed stamped envelope. That's kind of old school, isn't it? But I like an original. How do you feel about that? I feel like we need an original when it's possible, better than scan.
Yeah,
how do you think?
definitely. It's always best to have an original everything.
Yeah, I agree. I send an envelope with the W-9, with my little letter requesting they fill it out, and just be really sweet. We're just getting our documents in process. And we want you to fill out this form. And generally, they're really good about it. And I put that self-addressed stamped envelope. They're going to send it right back to you. And if I don't get it back by November, I'm calling. I'm going, hey, I really got to have this form. Could you send me the form? And that's one of the things I like to do to get my 1099s ready because I know a lot of the companies that I do books for, they do a lot of subcontract work. They have signs put on their building, and these are all done by wonderful local people. And I know you're a big proponent of local, Renee. So if you do local, aren't you going to encounter this more? Yeah, you're going to encounter 1099s more. So who to 1099? Individuals, small businesses that you pay more than $600 a year. Now, little envelope. Okay. Now, what I want to ask you is how can you help them to do this, Renee? Is there a way, can you help them to complete all this before January if they need to, like I said, or am I just making promises?
No, I sure can. I sure can. And all they have to do is just contact me and I can set up a time to get there. I do a free consultation. I go over what I can actually do. But since we need to get ready for tax season, I would focus on that aspect first before going into anything else in their packages.
Oh, fantastic.
So we would definitely make sure compliance is 100%.
Yes. And if you guys need this, I'm here for you. Renee's here for you. If you want to do it yourself, great. Contact us, direct message us, because I'm really big about let's make money, not stress. And you're going to make stress if you go back, go through all this work and you didn't do it correctly. Or if they show up at your door. And let me tell you, that's a bad day. Y'all have said it before. It's a bad, bad day when they show up
It's a scary day.
Yeah. It's one you won't soon forget in your life. So try not to add that to your history. And if you will direct message us and let us know, we will email you all these documents. Okay? Happily. You can look at them, see if you feel comfortable, read all the little directions, and maybe you'll feel comfortable doing it. And then you also have a backup if you don't. Okay? Everybody have a beautiful and profitable day. I want to thank you, Renee, for coming and giving this money-saving, stress-saving information.
Thank you for having me.
Next Wednesday, we're going to talk about phase 3, and I'm hoping to bring on another expert, so you'll have to watch advanced accounting and just kind of see what we're going to be dealing with in phase 3 and who's going to be my special guest. That's going to be next Wednesday, 7 a.m. Get ready for tax season 2019. So have a beautiful day, everybody. You have a profitable day, Renee.
Thank you. You too, Melissa.